Where did we come from? Why does the world contain both immense beauty and profound suffering? These are the biggest questions humanity has ever pondered. The very first book of the Bible, Genesis, begins by giving us the answers. Hello, and welcome to God Whisper. Today, we begin a grand journey to explore all 39 books of the Old Testament. Our first stop is the opening act of human history, the story contained in Genesis chapters 1 through 11. This section is commonly called Primeval History. It deals with the history of the earliest times, before any specific nation existed. How did God's perfect world begin, and how did it become broken? Let's step into the scene of creation now. Event 1. Creation, order, and rest. The Bible doesn't try to prove God's existence. It simply opens with a majestic declaration. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God brought order out of chaos. The first 3 days, He created the spaces, light, sky, and sea. The next 3 days, He filled those spaces with the sun and moon, animals, and finally, humanity. And every time He saw what He made, He declared, "It was good." The highlight of creation was the human being made on the final day. Humans are not random, thrown together beings. The Bible defines our identity like this. So God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God He created them. Male and female He created them. Genesis 1:27. A dignified being, unique in all the universe, made to bear the image of God, Imago Dei. God gave humanity the authority to rule the world, to enjoy perfect happiness and fellowship with Him in the Garden of Eden. This was the original state of the world, Shalom, peace. Event 2. The fall, the broken relationship. But this perfection began to crack. To give humans true freedom, God set just one boundary. But you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die. Genesis 2:17. This was not oppression, but a minimal safety guard, a way for the created to remember their Creator. But the serpent's temptation was sweet. If you eat it, you can become like God yourselves. Ultimately, humanity chose disobedience out of pride, wanting to be masters of their own lives without God. As a result, sin entered the world. The relationship with God was broken. The ground was cursed, and death came to mankind. But here is the amazing part, friends. Even in this moment of despair, God immediately gave a stunning promise of salvation. "And I will put enmity between you and the woman. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." Genesis 3:15. Theologians call this verse the Proto-Gospel, first gospel. Right at the scene of the fall, God was already promising that the offspring of the woman, Jesus Christ, would one day crush the power of Satan. Event 3. Noah's flood judgment and grace. After being driven out of Eden, sin spread like a virus. The first murder occurred when Cain killed his brother Abel, and the world was quickly filled with violence. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth. "And I will wipe them from the face of the earth." Genesis 6:5-7. Ultimately, God decided to judge the world with water. Yet, even in the midst of this judgment, one person found favor, Noah. God instructed Noah to build an ark, and through the 40-day great flood, He saved Noah and his family. The ark is more than just a boat. It is the only way of salvation provided by God amid judgment, a type or model of Jesus Christ. After the flood ended, God set a rainbow in the sky, a promise that He would never again destroy the world with water. This was not because humans had become good, but because of God's rainbow covenant, His promise not to give up on humanity despite its weakness. Did humanity change after the judgment of the flood? Sadly, Genesis chapter 11 shows another failure. People gathered on the plain of Shinar and began building a tower that would reach the heavens, the Tower of Babel. Let's make a name for ourselves instead of God's name. Let's stick together instead of scattering as God commanded. This was blatant human pride. God confused their language so they could no longer understand each other, and they were ultimately scattered across the earth. The first section of Genesis, Primeval History, seems to end here with humanity's failure and dispersal. Conclusion: towards a new beginning. Creation, the fall, the flood, and the Tower of Babel. We have seen a repeated pattern. God gave a good world, but humanity constantly fell and turned away from Him. But God's plan of salvation does not stop here. Out of the multitude of people scattered by the Tower of Babel, God now calls and singles out one person rather than the entire human race. The man God chose to save failed humanity is Abraham. What kind of new history will begin through an old man of 75? Join us for the next video, Genesis 2, Abraham and Isaac, to continue the story. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and like.